In this video, I will be playing Terraria Calamity Mod together with many of my viewers. That is right, I hosted a public server that allows up to 50 players to join and play together. But not in just any normal difficulty. We will be playing in Death Mode. Make sure you stick until the end, it gets very chaotic. Will we, 50 players, be able to survive the brutal and buggy challenges of Calamity's Death Mode? This video consists of multiple parts indicated by the timestamps. Feel free to skip to any of the following segments if you've already watched them before. Frequently hosting events like this on my server takes a lot of time, energy, and money. So far, I've spent more than $500 and my wallet is starting to feel attacked. Therefore, I'd like to make you guys a proposal. I just made a brand new GitGudWO YouTube membership that costs less than $1. Here is the deal, all the money that goes into the membership will be used to develop and create events on GitGud server. You guys will also get all of these following benefits, such as custom emotes and an exclusive role and chat room on my Discord server. But regardless on whether you guys will join or not, I still appreciate every single one of you goobers for making all of this possible. I streamed all of this live on my Twitch, and alright, let's start the video. Upon starting, all the players that join in immediately rush and chop down all the trees. This is just like Lorax all over again. They even stole the loot from my starter bag. These peasants are down horrendous, starving even for just wood. I can't imagine what will happen to scarce resources like Hermes Boots or Star Fury. Before even more people join and inhale all the resources like a maniac, I rush to find and enter a cave. And long and behold, amidst all the chaos, I found my golden chest, completely untouched. This is an extremely rare sight in this server. Sadly, the gold chest did not contain Hermes Boots nor Cloud in a bottle. It was a mere band of regeneration. I asked all the players to join Red Team so we can teleport and help each other in times of need more effectively and efficiently. With the sheer amount of people, I was thinking that we could possibly make a elevator this early into the game, as we have a few people mining down at the same time. You might be asking, where are all the others? Oh, maybe they are busy gathering resources. No, a lot of them are fighting Hive Mind this early into the game. Yup, who in the right mind thinks that fighting Hive Mind with starting gear is a good idea? We are dealing 0 damage, and Hive Mind has 170k HP due to the number of players. All my admins have the power to modify people's inventory, just in case of rule breakers and cheaters. Yup, they keep cluttering my inventory with random items. Can you guys stop giving me whoopee cushions? Damn, why do I have dirt block in my... Oh my god, who's rolling me? Why is my arsenal dirt blocks? Back to Hive Mind, this is literally Sisyphus. We did somehow manage to bring Hive Mind into Phase 2. But to make things worse, Hive Mind becomes abnormally small and mobile during Phase 2. The worst part, these people are relentless. They simply are not giving up. I decided to just continue on building the elevator. Luckily, my buddy Phoenix here already made a full-fledged house along with a bed for a spawn point. The admins did despawn the Hive Mind after Phase 2, as the server was lagging like crazy. And there was simply no way we could defeat the Phase 2 of Hive Mind this early into the game. I made a tungsten bow and some flaming arrows so that I have a chance at defeating the demons. But one factor I underestimated is that it was Death Mode, meaning the health of regular enemies have been massively increased along with their attack damage. To be honest, going to the underworld this early into the game is a bit stupid, but I had a plan in mind. My plan was to get the Bloodcrest Sword, which is a rare drop from the demon enemies. But yep, I had absolutely zero chance at farming Bloodcrest Sword. I did not know what I was thinking. I decided to gear up first before doing anything more dangerous. Keep in mind, we have more than 30 people here, and no one has made a house yet. Here, I checked up on the activities of the other people in this server. Ooh, you're in space. Damn. Hi there. Let me see people. Oh, he's building. Oh, smart. He's exploring the what's called Sky Islands. That's actually quite smart. Why is this guy at the edge of the world? Even Liner is here. Oh! People made houses here. So I'm the only one with a weak weapon right now. And this guy has Ancient Shadow Helmet. After a few houses had been made, the Merchant NPC moved in. The Merchant NPC is quite important in this server, as we added a custom mod that made him sell Life Crystal, Mana Crystal, and most importantly, Wormhole Potions. Because in a multiplayer server, they are quite important yet scarce resources. And while most of us were just chilling doing early game stuff, this happened. Wall of Flesh is awoken! Is someone fighting Wall of Flesh? Someone's fighting Wall of Flesh! Why? We have no armor, we have no weapons! What made you think we possibly can even win? On the next morning, a goblin army decided to invade our base. I was hoping I could get a harpoon drop from the goblin army, so I can use it to defeat the demons and acquire Bloodcrest Sword. A pathetic wish, I know. Someone go make a lava pyramid? Don't make a lava pyramid! We don't have the brain capabilities to survive it. These lobotomites will fall down to them. The real reason why I told people to avoid making mob farms is that it would lag the server. Even though most of our weapons were straight up garbage, and all our combined IQ is lower than room temperature, our sheer number of players easily overpowered the goblins. After the goblin army, I encountered a player who had obtained the Bloodcrest Sword. He took my dream and crushed it in front of me. Luckily, one of the many players was kind enough to give me a platinum broadsword. You know, it's not about the gift, it's about the thought that matters. Before things spiral even more out of control, such as players constantly griefing by spawning hive mind repeatedly, I knew I must take actions. I must be a good leader. We are gonna fight Eye of Cthulhu. Everyone, assemble at spawn! On that night, I took my first action as a self-proclaimed leader. Stop giving me cat ears! Everyone, get ready! Hold your position! Eye of Cthulhu! Let's do this! I commanded all the players to assemble together, as we are about to fight the Eye of Cthulhu. Keep in mind, most of our gear is laughably bad and we barely got 200 max HP on each player. Well, I guess we're progressing now. Finally, some progression. Some spicy progression. If you wonder what happened to me mid-fight, I ran out of arrows and I had no money to buy ammunition from NPCs. So I was forced to use my melee option. I'm trying my best to be useful here, okay? In my defense, I did not anticipate Eye of Cthulhu having more than 60,000 HP. But even with our lackluster gear, the sheer amount of projectiles we were able to ejaculate easily overwhelmed the Eye of Cthulhu. The giant eye did not even know which player to target. This is a rare case of it is not about the quality, it's about the quantity. Come on! With the power of friendship! I died. Chat, finish it! Why are you running to the cave? Why are you running to the cave? Yeah! Look! I have the third most damage! Defeating the eye provided all players with Shield of Cthulhu. Now everyone is able to dash. With the Demo Knight from Eye of Cthulhu, I was able to craft the Malais Yo-Yo. While I was just checking and teleporting around to see if there are any AFK players, I accidentally teleported to players who have found and built a base in the Shimmer mini biome. Well, this is useful. Didn't take me long to slip off and submerge myself in the Shimmer liquid. While I was looking for the recipe to craft Slime Crown, I found out who's been giving me cat ears and made costume all this time. It was one of my admin named Uriel. I had to remove his admin role. It was funny while it lasted. Someone also trolled in the alt chat by showing an auric bar. Don't worry, they don't actually have the item, they just type the item ID, which displays the item in the alt chat. I went to hell and got a white voodoo doll. I wanted to farm for the Bloodcrest Sword again here, but it seems that I'm out of luck. So let's just scratch that off my wish list. Without my realization, one of my admins, Falcon, was building a house this entire time. A beautiful one at that, while the others were busy gearing up. Falcon was truly being a goat for building a house. Because we banned explosives in the server, it becomes impossible to reach and break the shadow orbs, which meant we would have to craft the summoning item for Etherofolds later. Regardless, we crafted the Slime Crown in the Demon Altar, as the next boss we're about to fight is King Slime. We haven't built a proper arena yet, but since we've already defeated the Eye of Cthulhu, King Slime should be no big deal. At the very least, our Malais Yo-Yo was able to deal extremely consistent yet solid DPS against King Slime, and other players' variants of Light's Bane, Bloodcrest Sword, Star Fury, etc. are the icing on top of the cake. I did die against King Slime, but in my defense, King Slime learned Kagebunshin no Jutsu and ripped through space-time continuum just to tear apart my arse. Because of me dying, I couldn't secure the top 5 most DPS dealt to boss spot. But hey, regardless, can you blame me? King Slime literally teleported deep inside my arse. And we still won. I did not get the slime hook from King Slime treasure back. And since King Slime was an easy fight, hey, nothing wrong with resummoning it, right? I hope the players don't mind. Besides, think about it, it is just free gold. And maybe some players need ninja armor, who knows? We are shredding King Slime even faster this time, for some reason. Maybe because King Slime was stuck on the lower ground for most of the fight, which lets us focus our damage on one spot during the entire fight. I still wasn't on the top 3 or top 5 most DPS, but I dealt significantly more damage this time. This time, I got both the slimy saddle mount and the slime hook. However, I was missing the leggings for the ninja armor set. I got extra hood, so I traded with this guy for his pants. That just sounded very wrong for some reason. So now, after King Slime, we got full ninja armor. Nice! 20% increased movement speed. I also gave away my extra chest plate to people who needed it. Can we place down acorns for trees? People are chopping down wood, the trees, but they are not placing down the acorns back, so there are no wood. There are simply no wood. On the next day, we made a medium arena in the desert biome and quickly assembled all the players. As the next boss we're about to fight is Desert Scourge. In 3, 2, and 1. What the fuck? That's an Auric bar! Why do you have an Auric bar? Yo, why do you have an Auric bar? Maybe he wasn't lying about earlier. To this day, I still don't know how he got a singular Auric bar. It was in the chest? Huh? Don't worry, we soon trashed it. Anyways, back to main topic, Desert Scourge. Naturally, with Eye of Cthulhu and King Slime already defeated, our gear was more than powerful enough to deal devastating DPS to the Desert Worm. Oh my god, we are shredding Desert Scourge! We are shredding, oh my god, he's... Look at that bug. He is bugging. How many gold do I have? Actually, we can buy a life crystal. Yeah, I forgot. 19 gold coins. That's enough for life crystal. One thing that always fascinates me is how bad Worm AI is in multiplayer. Since Scourge was stuck targeting only one player at a time, so the others can easily lock in their weapons onto the segments. This will be a recurring problem. Well, I wouldn't say it's a problem, since it would just make all the Worm bosses easier. And with Desert Scourge defeated, 3 bosses have been successfully defeated in the server journey. I got the Sahara Slicers from Desert Scourge, which was pretty mid. Before I forget, I bought a total of 4 life crystals from the merchant NPC. Desert Scourge drops pearl shards and ocean materials which players can use to craft tight armor. They will also be able to craft weapons with the sea remains. In this case, I crafted the urchin mace, since it is the perfect shredder for our next victim. Asian stalactite for a cloud in a bottle. Yo, I can't believe we barely started and someone's already turning the server into a marketplace. On the next day, we are headed towards Corruption to fight the Eater of Worlds, but not before working together to make a medium-sized arena for the Worm. We knew Eater gets enraged on the surface, but with this many players, I strongly believe fighting Eater underground might be a worse idea. And with that, we can now summon Eater. What's happening here is a spinning attack of our Urchin Mace was able to pierce and hit multiple segments of Eater all at the same time, which results in extremely consistent DPS. Not to mention, releasing the mace after spinning it for a while shoots a charge of aquatic typhoon that pierces through enemies. In this case, Eater segments. Yo! Uriel! Stop placing down TNT barrels! Wah, astaghfirullahalazim! Here, I was frustrated because a player by the name of Uriel kept placing down TNT barrels and killing people using it, all in the middle of a battle against Eater of Worlds. Segment chat, be careful segments! Due to most of the players using Urchin Mace, we are absolutely melting the hell out of Eater. Where is the last segment? Oh, there is it. That's just like 2 segments. There we go, nice. I only deal 42 damage? Huh? With Eater defeated, all players gain access to crafting Nightmare Pickaxe and a full set of Shadow Armor. With Nightmare Pickaxe accessible, now everyone is able to mine Hellstone. Naturally, since I was melee, I had to go and mine Hellstone for my armor. While I was trying to gear up and mine Hellstone, some of the players decided to rush and fight Krabulon instead. Damn, these people do be speedrunning pre-hard mode like crazy. I do wish these players could calm down a bit when it comes to progression, because the other players will feel left out if things go way too fast. We need time for people to gear up and prepare. Also keep in mind, we haven't even built a proper housing system yet on the surface. There was really no need to rush. Terraria isn't all just about boss rush. It's also about building, exploration, experimenting with mechanics, testing different weapons, etc. But hey, I guess that is just the nature of human. The server does get tidier later on in this video after I implemented the progression limit per session rule. With Krabulon defeated, players obtained Mushroom Plasma Root, upgrading the rage mode along with obtaining Krabulon tier weapons. But the underdog of Krabulon loot is a Fungal Clump, an accessory that summons a Fungal Clump minion that sucks your enemy's health. It is very useful yet underrated as hell. I sold my Krabulon stuff and bought life crystal from the merchant NPC to max out my HP. With Krabulon defeated, now I can peacefully mine Hellstone. Here I was reminded that it's a bad idea to teleport to someone in the underworld with an undiscovered world map. Because I had no obsidian skin potion, I had to mine each Hellstone very carefully, or so I thought. As a player was kind enough to give me an obsidian skin potion and their 130 extra Hellstones, which made my underworld mining trip a breeze. This guy is truly a legend. With the Hellstones, I crafted molten armor along with fiery greatsword. Yes, I know it's quad 4 Keno now, but I prefer the former. Everyone, TP to me! Wait, not now! Damn! We must wait! We must wait for the people to come in! Since it was nighttime and most players had crafted hellstone gear, I thought, why don't we give Skeletron a shot? Most players, along with me as well, opted to use a Fiery Greatsword, which forces us to stay very close to Skeletron to deal good damage. Since we are using what you would call a true melee weapon, a high risk, high reward technique. But there were also players that prefer attacking from a distance, such as Falcon, who opted to use a Crackshot Colt, aka the funny coin gun from Ultra Kill. Taking down both of Skeletron arms was a fairly easy task. The hand almost down! Target oh! Uriel! Then I noticed something's off. Skeletron's health bar is barely moving. Why does Skeletron keep teleporting randomly across our screen? At first, I thought it was because the players kept going and flying up that caused a little DPS, and eventually Skeletron despawning. I only realized it much later that it was caused by a bug that occurs in Calamity, specifically to Skeletron and his prime variant on that mode multiplayer. Though at this point, I had not fully realized it yet. It even caused a massive lag spike in the server. I'll explain the details further later. Long story short, since the time was turning into morning, let's just forget about it. I bought rocket boots from Goblin Tinkerer as I got some money now. Then let's go to the corruption to refight Eater of Worlds again so the new players can get Demonite gears. During the daytime, I decided to become a bigger person in the server by chopping trees down and building a few houses. Didn't take me long to get bored of building. Anyways, I went to the corruption biome again to craft an overloaded sludge on a demon altar. While in the corruption, I gave players a quest to find Hive Mind Tumor. And since there were many players, they immediately found one on the corruption surface. A player by the name of Hazy was impatient and destroyed the tumor without waiting for the other players. Thank God for wormhole potions. And yes, some of the players were stupid enough to go to the underworld and fight Wall of Flesh instead. We don't talk about that. We used the Eater of Worlds arena as the arena to fight Hive Mind. 2 birds, 1 stone. If you really think about it, this is pretty much just a sweet revenge by the players. Because if you remember the incident that happened at the very start of the server, Hive Mind was technically the first boss the players faced and was unable to beat. One of the admins, Falcon, accidentally disabled enemy spawns, which in return despawned Hive Mind. Sadly, I had to remove his admin role as it was his third strike. But not to worry as we can just spawn Hive Mind again. Defeating Hive Mind might sound unimportant, but it can be quite useful, as defeating it provides players access to mine aerialite ores. Though there is a limited amount of aerialite in the world, so players might have to work and share with each other to get around that issue. Aerialite weaponries can be a good and much safer option, as they allow attacking from a distance, such as Windblade. I ain't crafting it though. I much prefer strategical gear, which you'll see us obtaining very soon. Back to Hive Mind, while it was a struggle during early game, players chuckle as it is now a puddle. You see what I did there? I might be Eminem. There we go! Look at my damage, chat! 15,200! Hive Mind loots were pretty mediocre. In my case, I could utilize the perfect Dark Sword, which was, acceptable I guess. Falcon made this house, yeah. That guy alone, Falcon, alone made this house. Soon I realized that my accessories were pretty bad. You might be wondering why I don't have Hermes boots. Well, let me explain. Getting Hermes boots from a chest in a world filled with more than 30 players is like finding a needle in a haystack. It is a very scarce and a limited resource. To be fair, Calamity does add a recipe to craft it, but I keep forgetting to do it. At around this point, the server crashed. Keep in mind, I bought the most expensive option in the server hosting website, costing $55 per month. The Motoder multiplayer is just that bad. It was kinda my first time hosting a large-scale public server, so things somewhat get pretty messy here and there. Though I do promise I'll do a better job at hosting during Season 2 later. Anyways, I restarted the server and pinged the players to join back. During the process, something came inside of my mind. A brilliant idea. At this very moment, I summoned Slime God before even more people could join in. Hold on, let me explain why. Boss HP scales equivalent to player count. Meaning, if I summon Slime God when there are only 20 players, his health scale will be equivalent of those of 20 players. So players who joined after Slime God was summoned won't impact the health pool. In times of adversity, I must take opportunity. I don't think this counts as cheating, right? Even with abusing this mechanic, Slime God was still exceptionally tanky. It took us almost an entire in-game day just to beat them. I do feel sorry for the new players that had joined though. They just kept getting one-tapped by Slime God, and there was genuinely nothing they can do either, even if they wanted to help. The Blood Moon that suddenly randomly appeared did not help either. Ain't gonna lie, it does look badass though. Summoning a boss right when I start the server was definitely a terrible idea. I promise I won't do it anymore. He was stun-locking me! If I could picture this fight, it would be like 30 coughing babies versus M4 Sherman. The babies eventually will win, but it just takes plenty of time. Jeez! Slime God is now dead, and I'm dead too. But hey, though with Slime got defeated, newer players immediately get access to static gel gear. So hey, look at the bright side. Someone was kind enough to craft a static refiner using their own purified gel and turn it into the community crafting station. I used my purified gel to craft a gelitic pickaxe and gelitic blade. Gelitic blade is basically the pre-hard mode version of Terra blade. I didn't feel like I need to craft a static gel armor, as I was feeling good enough with my molten armor. Now that everyone has full static gel armor and weapons, my confidence skyrocketed. I am confident that we have a super solid chance against Skeletron now. On that night, I went to the dungeon and summoned an entire army of lobotomized players. I didn't even have to curse the old man myself, as one of the players decided to do that himself. Remember what I said about Skeletron being bugged earlier? Yep, the moment Skeletron despawned, I finally realized what was happening. It's not due to our low DPS, it was due to a bug in death mode. So this time, I summoned Skeletron, but with death mode deactivated. Even then, I do have to mention, our DPS here wasn't optimal either, as if you noticed, there were a lot of people that did not want to join the fight, possibly because Skeletron drops not so useful loots, and some of the players were also AFK. These factors contribute onto why even with static gel gear, we were still dealing somewhat low DPS against Skeletron. And since a lot of people were doing different tasks in different locations across the server, it made the server quite laggy during Skeletron fight. But it is not a big deal, as we still managed to take Skeletron down before time set into morning. Thank God, as enraged Skeletron would be a huge pain in multiplayer. Defeating Skeletron grants players access to enter the dungeon, farm for bones, and for those who are fast and lucky, obtain the dungeon treasures. I ain't up for the task though. It seems like a pain fighting through a horde of down horrendous players speedrunning the dungeon to try and find Muramasa and Cobalt Shield. I am just using the footage of players by the name of Uriel and water bottle of them entering the dungeon here. On the next day, while plenty of players are busy gearing up and acquiring dungeon gears, me along with some players were just doing DPS test with Desert Scourge as a target dummy. Also, the Pearl Shards dropped by Desert Scourge can prove to be quite useful for the new players that had joined. With all pre-hard mode bosses defeated, we totally didn't forget about Queen Bee or Dirklops here. We should start building a hell bridge for the Wall of Flesh. I feel like a slave building the hell bridge myself. Why are these players just watching and whipping me? Is this slavery? Nah, that's wild. I used my battle cry and started a revolution. A revolution to fight back against the slavery. I am literally Chinese Nelson Mandela. People joined the revolution and we built this bridge together. Together, ape strong. As soon as the bridge was long enough, let's just say the players were very impatient. They immediately threw away their voodoo doll, resulting in some chaotic scenarios. These players really wanted to get to hard mode that badly, huh? Looks like we are starting from the most right side of the world. Okay, calm down now, we got plenty of time. And besides, this arena is long enough, right? Spoiler alert, in just a few minutes from now, I will regret saying that sentence. Chat? Maybe the arena is not long enough. I changed my mind. Maybe the arena is not long enough. What the fuck is our DPS? Guys, you're gonna wanna see this. Is the eye more vulnerable? Or is the mouth more vulnerable? I remember the 50-player lobby when we somehow made it to hard mode because it wasn't death mode. It was not death mode. This is death mode for some. He's the epileptic. Who is weaker, the mouth or the aha? At first, I wasn't too worried. Our DPS doesn't look that bad. But after some time had passed, I realized, wait, where are the rest of the platforms? I thought we've built a long enough arena. Since the arena was longer than half of the world, it turns out I was wrong. I was very wrong. We have reached the end of the arena, which unfortunately also means that we are quite close to the end of the world. I quickly gave out a command to the players. 2 to 3 players are given tasks to mine obstacles and make way for the other player's footing, and the rest of the players must focus on dealing the most damage they possibly can dish out to the Wall of Flesh. Oh my god, insane teamwork! I can't have done this without you guys! With the power of friendship! It's almost the end of the world. Guys, come on! With the power of friendship, we can save this school! UA high! Come on! My friends! My allies! Oh fuck! Time had passed. Wall of Flesh had reached critical HP, but at the same time, we had stepped our foot in the Brimstone Crack biome, which unfortunately means we are quickly approaching near the end of the world. We have reached the point where players stopped dodging and resorted to true melee, sacrificing themselves in the process. But their sacrifices were not in vain. With the combined power of more than 30 players, Wall of Flesh is not an enemy to be feared of. Yeah! And with that, we officially did it. This very moment marks history, as we are the first Terraria Calamity public server to ever step foot into hard mode. Defeating the wall also means all players gain access to his loots, including Demon Heart, which increases accessory slots by 1. Unfortunately, players also get access to the Firecracker Whip, which results in some racially questionable outcome. Going back to spawn, there are even more questionable things that happened, ranging from cool to insane, such as finding out a player has built a cool mini hut, and finding out a player has hoiked into the temple to acquire a lizard furnace. But the most insane thing that happened is the fact that the Astral Infection biome landed onto our spawn. This is a bug that had never occurred before in the entire history of Calamity, at least to my knowledge. That's gonna spawn a lot of enemies! There is a tower here. Yeah, the Astral Tower's here. A player by the name of Motivated Prime kept whipping me with his firecracker, so I had to take his whip away from his inventory. How did you get another firecracker? How? This happened not just once, but twice. I guess you can say this guy was truly racially motivated. Anyways, onto my main objective. I went to the underground caverns to mine palladium ores. Yo, don't steal my stuff, damn! Yo, mine your own palladium! Mine your own palladium, damn! Motivated! Mine your own palladium! Monkey! And yeah, let's just say mining hard mode ore in a server filled with more than 30 people is anything but peaceful. Not to mention, I had to stop players from summoning Astrum Deus during early hard mode, as they get easy access to the Astral Beacon. Why does Titan Heart drop this early, man? What's the point? Things do get a bit calmer after some time had passed, so I finally was able to mine Palladium and Cobalt in peace. I used them to craft Cobalt pickaxe and a full set of Palladium armor, along with the Cobalt shield. I mined down some Obsidian and upgraded my Cobalt shield to Obsidian shield. Then I dropped my rogue emblem in the shimmer to turn it into the warrior emblem. A player by the name of Hazy Elk found a gelatin crystal, so it is only natural that Queen Slime will be the next boss on our to-do list. I quickly assembled the players and summoned her in the hallowed biome. It is probably a bad idea to fight Queen Slime right now, as some players were still gearing up. The hallowed biome hasn't even got time to properly generate and spread evenly yet in the world. You will never stop me? Wow! Look at that chat! Motivated Prime is whipping me again! Yeah, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6 leather whips. 6. We were making solid progress until we brought Queen Slime to 50% HP, allowing her to enter Phase 2. During Phase 2, Queen Slime gains the ability to fly and she becomes much more mobile, making it much harder for us to consistently deal good DPS to the Queen Slime, especially with our underpowered pre-hard mode weapons. Not to mention, people who were trolling by placing down TNT barrels around the arena did not help to make the fight faster either. Luckily, I was experienced enough to avoid the explosions. That's it, I'm arranging a new event that'll give a reward to whoever finds out who's been the culprit behind all these TNT barrel explosions. Our combined effort lasted from day to night, bombarding the gelatinous queen with barrages of projectiles. But at last, we were able to defeat Queen Slime, though with a not so happy ending. How much DPS? Fuck! Oh my, I opened her treasure bag, but I was missing the crystal assassin leggings. So I had to trade with someone for their leggings to obtain the full armor set. With the crystal assassin armor, we can now dash further and faster. I gave away my palladium armor by putting it inside a public community chest. Someone reminded me to throw life crystal inside the shimmer so we can get a vital crystal, which permanently boosts life regen. I ended the part 1 stream at around right here. On the next stream, I was greeted with a massive number of astral enemies constantly spawning the moment I joined the server, and so did other players. It was getting frustratingly annoying. Though this counts as somewhat cheating, I just had to cheat in Contaminator with Green Solution to purify a small part of the spawn. Look, it was necessary to prevent the server from lagging and newcomers from getting immediately mauled by astral enemies. I forgot to fight Queen Bee during the entire pre-hard mode. So here we are, in the jungle, inside the hive. Better late than never. The summoner's cry for help was finally heard, as most of the summoner gears are locked behind Queen Bee drops. Only a few players joined the Queen Bee fight though, consisting of some people that wanted to help and the people that wanted to be summoner. Because Queen Bee drops aren't particularly useful for other classes aside from summoner. There is nothing too notable about the Queen Bee fight other than summoner players finally getting the upgrades they've been waiting for. Yeah, I can just sell these Queen Bee loots, they have no use for me. Next, I fly up to the Sky Islands to farm wyverns for source of light and harpies for feathers. I want the wyvern! Nah, motivate. Oh hell nah! Oh hell nah! No! Fucking! He stole it! But of course, there were also people there farming them, so I had to compete with them. Though it was only a matter of time before I was able to get my own source of light. I used the souls and the feathers to craft angel wings. And yes, I was using a texture pack that changes angel wings into V1 wings from Ultra Kill. Now that we've acquired flight, we are one of the very few people in the server who has obtained or crafted wings. On the next morning, one of the players decided it was a good idea to summon a Frost Legion for whatever goddamn reason. We did not need Frost Legion. It is the most useless event in the entire history of Terraria. And it just bombards snow everywhere, making a mess. I just drank a Zerg, so please stop it. Why would you drink a Zerg? Ay! Who's doing that right there? You! Stop using Zerg potion! So it was you all this time! It was you! Oh my god! I found the culprit and the reason behind the intense lag of the server. It was this guy on the right side of the ocean fishing while using a Zerg potion. Why are you like this? After nearly clearing the Frost Legion, cleaning up somebody's mess that is not mine, I went to the snow biome to farm the materials needed to craft a cryo key, the summoning item for cryogen. We then assembled in the arena we used to fight Queen Slime earlier, as the snow biome is conveniently located in the hollowed biome, and we used the cryo key to summon cryogen. It was super easy to crash through cryogen's ice barrier, but that doesn't mean that its health is as fragile. In fact, it is quite the opposite, as cryogen is the first boss in this playthrough that reaches a health of over 1 million. More specifically, 1,050,214. Yep, we have reached that mark, the 1 million HP mark. There is no going back anymore. All bosses from now on will have around or more than 1 million HP. As we progress through cryogen fight, the time also changed from day to night. I was using the Gelatic Blade during the first half of the cryogen fight, but I switched to Fiery Greatsword at around halfway in. Though it arguably deals more DPS, it is much riskier to use Fiery Greatsword. But I was just bored of being too far from bosses. I wanted some true melee action. Besides, Ice is weak to fire, technically speaking in Pokemon terms. Near the end of the fight, Cryogen was quite literally running away for his life. So we had to chase down the Ice Cube, which was a pretty funny moment. But besides all that, the Cryogen fight was pretty chill, and functioned as a good icebreaker for the new players who had just joined. Yeah, sorry about those puns. I died right at the end of the boss fight because I wanted to look cool with my Fiery Greatsword. Cryogen loots were very useful for every players. Not just weapons, it drops stuff like the Soul of Cryogen wings, which is especially useful for people who have not crafted wings yet. I wasn't planning on being rogue, but since I got the Icebreaker rogue weapon, and I'm using a Crystal Assassin armor set, I guess I can temporarily be rogue, as this weapon is not too shabby. While I was just chilling organizing my piggy bank, one of my many admins decided to summon the Destroyer. Yo, admins, what the fuck? Yo, admins! I did not summon that! Yo! But Destroyer is getting shredded. Keep in mind that only admins have permission and power to summon bosses. Regular players are unable to summon bosses. So yeah, to this day I still haven't found out who did it. But you know what? I forgive them, as I soon began to realize that we are shredding the hell out of Destroyer. No, like seriously though, there were ice projectiles sticking all over Destroyer's body. Our combined DPS was batshit insane during this moment. Like, look at how fast we are depleting Destroyer's health bar. Look, I get that Destroyer is a worm boss and worm bosses are the easiest to cheese, but damn! I did not expect it to be this easy to cheese in multiplayer. I guess it was truly a freezing night for Destroyer. Yeah, this worm's getting a hypothermia. It is raining icicles everywhere. No, I don't think it's raining anymore. This was a blizzard. The stream bitrate was truly being obliterated during this moment. It is quite ironic that a hard mode mechanical boss was the fastest boss we've beaten just yet during this entire playthrough so far. With Destroyer being defeated, I was very optimistic. We already dug too deep. Might as well summon the twins on the same night. We were able to shred Destroyer, but can we shred the twins? You are evil? Look, the guy that summoned Destroyer is not me. It was one of the admins. So like, come on. Am I the evil one here? Yes, I am. Well, not that much, just a tiny bit evil. I just wanted to limit tests on how powerful the players were. It is quite an interesting phenomenon to see that Spasmatism separated with Retinazer during this battle. Did they get into a divorce or something? Damn, the legal battle must be tough. This led to some players focusing on Retinazer and some focusing on Spasmatism, separating the player base too by 50-50. This actually felt like a divorce. I myself didn't know which one to pick. I'm basically like the middle child here. I didn't know whether I should focus on Spasmatism or Retinazer. I don't know which parent side to pick, so I just switched between them regularly. During this battle against the twins, the solar eclipse event happened. Damn, it happened this early? I never really get to experience a solar eclipse this early into hard mode with just one mech boss defeated. This feels a bit off. Wait, doesn't that mean it has turned daytime? Why haven't the twins despawned yet then? Why are they still here, alive and well? This was a bit of a weird experience. It just felt uncanny and off. But regardless, we took down Spasmatism first since it was arguably more dangerous, leaving Retinazer for last. Then grouping together to bombard Retinazer with projectiles, successfully and officially taking down the twins, all in the middle of a solar eclipse. Since we are playing Calamity, the mech boss's Razorbacks doesn't provide much other than the souls. It requires all the mech trio to be defeated to obtain hallowed bars. On the bright side, now that two mechanical bosses are defeated, new hard mode ores have generated underground. I mined the material ores and turn it into a material pickaxe. Then I use the material pickaxe to mine adamantite and titanium, the obligatory yet classic hard mode ore mining session. I was able to mine more adamantite than titanium, so I used the adamantite to craft adamantite particle accelerator, along with ranger version of the armor. Yes, I'm switching to ranger class for a bit, since I was and still am in love with adamantite accelerator. I gave away my crystal assassin armor just in case anyone needs it. Then I went to the Brimstone Creek biome to farm materials needed to craft a chart idol. Yeah, people were spamming the announcement box on the surface. Don't mind the Lord has awoken message. People be mad creative nowadays. I am also here in the Brimstone Creek biome to mine down some of the minority hellstones, infernals to avoid. It is hard to differentiate them due to how black they are. And with all that, we can now craft the chart idol, the summoning item for Brimy Mommy. Then I went back to the Brimstone Creek biome to build an arena. I am basically the server arena provider at this point, since I'm the guy that built the most amount of arena in the world. Now that a small arena has been built, I called the lobotomites to assemble and group up, as we are about to fight the Brimstone Elemental. Why are some people still using Galactic Blade? That is an interesting weapon choice. The combination of icicle projectiles from other players and laser beams from adamantite particle accelerator is starting to edge out my entire screen. A blood moon happened during the fight against Brimy, but I am more so curious onto what's wrong with the spawn dwellers and the AFK players at spawn. What the hell are they doing? They kinda pissed me off a bit. But regardless, I can't be focused onto them, as we have bigger troubles to face right now. Adamantite particle accelerator is an amazing weapon and it deals really good damage. I did not regret crafting it, but I do think my aim is garbage. I need to improve on that. The lag was a bit insane at around the end of the Brimstone Elemental battle. I assume it is due to Blood Moon enemies at the spawn clashing with the massive amount of projectiles being ejaculated during this battle. Though while it was laggy, we were still successful at defeating the Brimy Mommy. Brimstone Elemental loots were pretty fire. In our case, we could utilize the Rose Stone to summon our own personal Brimstone Elemental waifu to fight for us. A player by the name of Kelvin gave me their Hellborn, since he was playing Rogue. Shout out to him. With the sheer amount of Brimstone waifus, I think we are ready to fight the last mechanical boss of the trio, Skeletron Prime. There were almost the same amount of Brimstone Elemental waifus as the players. Skeletron Prime had absolutely zero chance as all the players finally got their time to fully gear up with hard mode gears. I switched between Adamantite Particle Accelerator and Hellborn, as the Accelerator would deal better damage with its capabilities to pierce through Skeletron Prime body parts, but Hellborn would deal better damage later on when only the head is left. I almost forgot to mention, Skeletron Prime despawned during our first fight against him. It seems that whenever Skeletron Prime flies up into the sky, the despawning bug will occur. Weirdly enough, this only happens in that mode, similar to the bug that happened to regular Skeletron earlier. So we had to disable that mode and resummon it again. Things were going smoothly, in fact, way too smooth. And you know the rules. When things go smoothly, someone will always be there to bring chaos. Did someone summon Astrum Deus? Oh my god! Okay, new witch hunt! Find out the guy who summoned Astrum Deus! Reward? Discord Nitro! That is right, someone summoned Astrodeus in the middle of the fight. What did I even expect from these players? Luckily, Skeletron Prime was very low on HP when the Astrodeus shenanigans happened, so we were able to quickly take it down. People got violated and devoured by Astrodeus almost immediately after the defeat of Skeletron Prime. I had to despawn Astrodeus before things get even more out of control. I summoned another destroyer not long after because I just knew there was not enough hallowed bars for every player from a single mech boss drop. Even though Calamity has generated hallowed ores in the underground, let's just be honest here, nobody's gonna mind that. I crafted the melee version of the hallowed armor, but then I noticed we don't have enough hallowed bars to craft the weapons nor the pickaxe, so I proceeded to summon another destroyer again, so that we can farm it to obtain hallowed bars. Hellborn was pretty efficient at making a dent onto destroyer's health bar, since Hellborn has a function where enemies that touch the tip of the gun while it's being fired trigger a massive explosion. After the explosion, the gun gains a massive boost to damage, fire rate and knockback for 10 seconds. So I just had to repeatedly dash at the destroyer to get closer and trigger the explosions. With 2 destroyers defeated, everyone should have more than enough hallowed bars to craft their armor and weapons. I crafted Pickaxe X and Excalibur. Finally, I can switch back to being melee again. Then I went to the jungle to mine chlorophytes as I need them to transform my Excalibur into its true form, through Excalibur. While waiting for the other players to gear up, I built some stone shoeboxes so that the hard mode NPCs could move in. I also stumbled onto players who were dumping a mountain pile of their coins. That's awesome! A player by the name of Motivated Prime told me they had found the Plantera bulb, and he also gave me his extra feral claws. This was the same exact player who was whipping me earlier. The redemption arc is real. Turns out I forgot that the Plantera biome wasn't exclusive to Infernum. It also exists in base Calamity, and a lot of players were already there, waiting for me to summon Plantera. So here goes nothing. It is now time to summon and fight the Mother Nature herself, Plantera. I whip out my strong, long and girthy true Excalibur, while definitely not being jealous of those who wields the biome blade. Since me along with couple others were true melee, we had to stay close to Plantera's Kauk the entire time. The benefit of this is that we can stop her nasty green tentacles from reaching onto other players. Players that were using chlorophyte armor were also being extra useful during this battle, due to Calamity changing chlorophyte set bonus into releasing an aura that damages enemies and heals players inside the zone. The zone is a pulsating green circle aura thing. Plantera was actually one of the easier and squishier bosses during this playthrough. I assume due to how easy it is to craft hollow tier gears compared to other tiers in the progression. This feels like we are stopping Plantera from escaping her containment breach. SCP reference, yeah. Plantera would honestly be a perfect fit for an SCP now that I think about it. It is not GitGudWO if he doesn't die near the end of the boss fight. Ah, classic. 100k more, 100k more, let me finish her. There you go, nice. I couldn't really utilize any of the Plantera loots other than the living shard materials and maybe the pick me stuff for a tiny bit of extra damage. Next, I went to the underwater to find a shadow chest and obtain a dark lance. From jungle to underworld, this was truly a sudden and extreme change of environment. Then I crafted a chlorophyte partisan and Gangnir, and I combined all 3 of the spears with living shards to craft a botanic piercer, the Terrablade version of spears. Another reason why I crafted it was because I was too lazy to compete with the players farming Motron for Broken Hero Sword during Solar Eclipse. Then I crafted Eye of Desolation with the extra materials I obtained from the Brimstone Crag trip I did earlier. Around 3 in-game days had passed, so that should be enough time for people to gear up. I very much believe it is now time to summon and fight Calamity's clone. I am a bit jealous of the people using Terrablade, but I guess that's the cause of me being lazy. Botanic Piercer wasn't that bad though. It is essentially just Terrablade in a spear form. Call me coping, but come on, they are virtually identical. It didn't take long for Calclone to initiate her bullet hell phase. Not to brag, okay fine, I'm gonna brag a bit. But when you've been through Infernum Supreme Calamitas, this bullet hell phase felt like a walk in the park. I mean, it is that mode, which is only 1 tier of difficulty below Infernum, but still, just 1 tier of difficulty difference makes a lot of significant impact. It did not take us long to defeat Calclone. I mean, she was on tier equal to Plantera, so it wasn't a surprise that we melted her. Calclone loots were pretty nice. Whoops, almost dropped my Void of Calamity there. It provides a good summoner staff and Tropis Vigil, and a decent shotgun that fires 3 bullets at once. Animosity. But the most useful drop for me was the Void of Calamity accessory. I upgraded my Feral Claws to Power Glove, crafted Avenger Emblem, then combined both of them into Mechanical Glove. Here are my current accessories and arsenal. I'd say it is not too shabby for a person playing in a 50-player server. Now that I have somewhat proper gear, I went to the right side of the ocean to find a triple question mark entity. Well, that was fast fast? I did not anticipate to find her that fast. I called all the players to assemble quickly at that, because let's just say our Void of Calamity accessory kept raining down hostile projectiles. And to summon Anahita and Leviathan, you would need to cause harm to the triple question mark entity. Yeah, there was no chance we could prevent Anahita from spawning. I changed the time to daytime since visual clarity was an issue. Fortunately, most of the players, whether in the spawn or in other locations, were quick to respawn and regroup with us. I built an arena while the others were busy fighting Leviathan. Since, let's just say I'm a responsible leader. I might have to alt effort in real life after saying that. Our sweet, delicate butt cheeks are ready to be pecked by Anahita's trident. Okay, what? Why did I type this? I think I typed this after I dry scooped 2 scoops of energy drink powder directly inside my mouth at 4 AM. Yo, all the spawn campers. Yo, Joe Biden! Joe Biden! Come here! Yes, I just called in President Joe Biden to join the battle. As upon taking Anahita to half her HP, we have awoken the morbidly obese Leviathan. Man is pissed? Yeah, because there are spawn campers. They are doing absolutely bad shit nothing, while we do most of the work. Look at your map! Press M! And then scroll to the right side! Get you dumbass, I'm literally 3 bosses behind in progress. Doesn't really matter, any damage helps, any DPS helps. Also, you can get loots from the chest. I put a lot of loots in the chest. I'ma farm the saber. You, how does it storm saber? Dude, I put good loots in the chest. Why would you look for the saber? Why would you look for a storm saber? Pre-Leviathan, I mean, during Leviathan. The bosses are way stronger because the bosses scale with people. Right now there are 30 people, so it's multiplied by 30. You know what's frustrating, chat? So those spawn campers only joins when the boss HP gets to like very low, and then they take the treasure back. Like, genuinely, what the f***? I was feeling particularly grumpy that day, so please don't mind me complaining. I was quite literally modding. But hey, look at that. You know what they say, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. We successfully took down the Leviathan. Anahita left to go. Now, where is she? It is so hard to find smaller enemies with how many projectiles there are on the screen. She was already extremely low on HP though, so it didn't take long for us all to defeat her. Nice. Look at all the spawn campers teleporting. Wow! What a shame! What a pity! Shameful beings! Oh shit, everyone died there. What? I died too? 167k damage. Honestly, not bad. Yeah, I think I dealt the most damage. I wasn't even close, as the number 1 spot was held by Water Bottle at 177,000 damage. Sadly, I didn't get anything particularly too useful from the Leviathan. It's fine. Joe Biden! The fucking Leviathan! The fucking Leviathan's dead! Why are you looking for Storm Saber? I can literally give you a better weapon right now! How? How are you looking for Storm Saber? No! What the hell, man? You're actually Joe Biden in real life. Holy! Why are there so many women? I don't know, man. I don't know. I was asked by some players to teleport to them. Turns out they were already inside the temple. Damn, these players really wanted to speedrun instead of taking their time, huh? Well, I don't really mind that too much. So I built a quick arena for the players and summoned Golem. That is a lot of health. 1,346,000, not including armor. Guys, can you guys inflict Ichor to him? Being cramped inside a small room inside the temple filled with more than 30 players spamming their hard mode tier weapons is literally a claustrophobic person's worst nightmare. I apologize if any of you viewers or players are claustrophobic. It was near impossible to differentiate the projectiles being ejaculated from allies or foes at this point. I couldn't tell if those yellow blasts were Golem's projectiles or another player's Inferno Fork or something. Like, look at what happened here. How can you blame me here? I might be modding and coping and sitting, but how? How could I tell whether that's Golem's projectiles when some players' projectiles look identical? Regardless, we did defeat Golem, so I couldn't be too mad about it. I just wished I was there to deal the final blow together. I got a Sunstone and Golem's Fist from the treasure bag. Hey, I can try to make this work. With Golem defeated, the Steampunker NPC now sells Steampunk Wings. Hell yeah! I sold some of my good stuff to buy it. This wing is so good and energy efficient. I can't stress how useful it is. The downside is just the fact that it costs your life kidney to buy it. I ended the part 2 stream at around right here. On the next stream, right when I started, a player found a Martian probe and started a Martian invasion. Yep, we just started the server and we are already off to a chaotic start. I truly love my server. My primary objective during this Martian invasion is to get an influx wafer dropped by the saucers. And to do that, I must compete with the other down horrendous melee players trying to get it as well. Come to Papa, come to Papa. No, let me get it, let me get the loot. No, yes, oh, I got it. I got the influx wafer! I am glad I didn't overreact there. I am happy that I got the influx wafer amidst multiple of players competing against each other at the same time in hopes of obtaining it. I kinda feel guilty, yet this also feels so rewarding for all the wrong reasons. The Martian invasion did last for quite a while though. I am sure plenty of others got the Martian loots they wanted. Hopefully. We just started off the part 3 of the livestream, yet we already cleared the Martian invasion event. We are off to a bright start. While flying around, I spotted a thief stealing from the community mountain pile of gold coins. I gave away my golem's fist to someone else because I think I am fine with my influx wafer and botanic piercer. I never took the time to explore the world properly, so let's do that for a bit. This building was made by a player by the name of Ice Spider. I do have to mention, at the time of recording, I was hosting a building competition, where the 3 best builders will be able to win $5 Steam gift card. Hey, it's not much, but it's something. I was given a Spelunker potion from a kind player by the name of Senna, which was still using Fictite armor. I went to the underground jungle again to mine even more chlorophyte, as we need plenty of them to craft beetle armor. While we are in the jungle, we also defeated a few Plaguebringer mini-bosses for their plague cell canisters. I thought I needed to craft chlorophyte armor first before turning it into turtle armor. Wait, did they change the recipe? They changed the recipe! So I was mining chlorophyte for nothing. Oh, wait, there is still shimmer. There is still shimmer! Yeah, there is still shimmer! But it turns out I was wrong. Luckily, there is the shimmer to fix my mistake. I can just dunk my chlorophyte armor pieces, and I'll be able to get my chlorophyte bars back. Damn, I wonder what will happen to me if I jump inside the shimmer in real life. I was too lazy to farm turtles, so I typed in the chat want to buy turtle shell, as I need them for my turtle armor. While waiting for a seller, I went to the jungle to farm some plague cell canisters and maybe get some turtle shells here too if we are lucky. Once I got most of the jungle materials I needed, I crafted the turtle armor and transformed it into the beetle armor. I crafted the scale mail version instead of the shell, because I didn't have to worry too much about defense or dying with this many players. Rest assured, I had already found and implemented a way to make dying riskier during Season 2 and have more significant repercussions. I gave away my hallowed armor to this player called Senna, as she was still wearing Fictite armor, and she also gifted me a Spelunker potion earlier. I used the Plague Cell canisters to craft Abomination, but before summoning and fighting Plaguebringer Goliath, I have to go to the dungeon first to farm some ectoplasms, as I needed some to craft a naughty present. I also planted some pumpkins earlier, so I can use them to craft a Pumpkin Moon Medallion later. I promised the players that I would start the stream off with fighting the invasion events before we progress to fight bosses, so here we are. Let's start with Frost Moon. My goal here during Frost Moon was to get a North Pole Spear, dropped by the Ice Queen mini-boss, but no matter how hard I try, these tryhard sweaty players are more slippery than the Vaseline tube of the average zoologist fan. They keep robbing me of my hard work, and the worst part, these people still have the audacity to wrap their North Pole, no, my North Pole, across my nutsack. Damn. Fine. It is not like I needed it anyways. I must separate my wants from my needs. Right at the very next night, the players have spoken loudly and clearly. They wanted a Pumpkin Moon. Damn, I didn't even know some of the admins already crafted their own Pumpkin Moon Medallion. How did they even get the pumpkins though? Did they harvest the pumpkins I planted earlier? I did not really need anything from Pumpkin Moon, so I wasn't too alarmed about not being able to obtain any of the Pumpkin Moon loots, as I realized that the upgrade to the Horseman Blade is through melee. Not the biggest fan of that. I'd rather just chill and help the other players take down the waves of enemies, rather than trying to compete with the players thirsting over loots. It's only been like 5 minutes, enemies, but I'm already a changed man. I did get the sickest spooky tree mount right at the end though. Damn, this tree is fast. Too bad it can't fly. I am not even tripping, but 30 seconds after Pumpkin Moon has ended during the morning, a pirate invasion event decided to trigger out of nowhere. Event after event after event. Damn, this feels like I'm farming in a stereotypical Korean MMORPG. I do want to get a black spot mount from the Flying Dutchman ship enemies, but I got a golden bathtub instead. Close enough, I guess. Now with most invasions cleared, I fulfilled the player's request. Let's focus on our main storyline objective once again. I used my spooky tree mount to run back to the jungle. And we are back inside the Plantera arena once again. We gather players up as the next boss we are about to fight is the Plaguebringer Goliath. You see, we fought Plaguebringer Goliath in the underground jungle so that she won't get enraged. Though I won't lie, my intrusive thoughts do want to try and summon Plaguebringer Goliath on the surface jungle, just to inflict more chaos onto this 50-player server. Though I had the influx waiver at this point, I felt like Botanic Piercer can be somewhat better than it in most scenarios, I feel. Actually, I don't think that is true, now that I am editing it. Maybe it was just my gut feeling, and with that, Plaguebringer Goliath is now defeated. Finally, we can lay low from doing jungle stuff now. I opened the Plaguebringer treasure bag, and holy guacamole! I got a legendary drop, the Malachite rogue weapon. Unfortunately, I was melee, so I decided to just give it to a player by the name of Kelvin, since he was one of the very few rogues in the server. Rogues are quite a rare sight to see in the server. A player by the name of Water Bottle also gifted me his Virulence, which is a melee sword dropped by Plaguebringer Goliath that can shoot projectiles that inflict a plague debuff. Then we are headed towards ocean to fish. Nah, I am joking. Nobody likes fishing. We are here to fight Dogfishron. I'd argue Dogfishron is quite important to defeat, as the Fishron wings is quite literally the best pre-Moon Lord wings. Though some players would say they would rather craft Huddle Mantle. Me personally myself, I am not a huge fan of diving deep down the abyss to mine hydrothermic ore. I always try to avoid it if possible, and equipping Huddle Mantle without hydrothermic armor just isn't optimal. And besides, I am already wearing Beetle armor. I'd say Beetle is on par with hydrothermic. I never knew Duke is not immune to the plague debuff. I realized it upon swinging with my Virulence. So that's cool. I was basically unconsciously dodging someone's North Pole most of the time out of instinct. Hey, what can I say, man? It is just my bullet hell instinct kicking in. And the Blood Moon happened right near the end of Dogfishron fight. If I get a nickel every time a Blood Moon happens right at the end of a boss fight, I would get like 2 nickels, which isn't a lot. But it is weird that it happened twice. Upon defeating Dogfishron, the players found a triple question mark entity and summoned Anahita again. Of course, this homunculi would do that. I got a tsunami and a bubble gun from Duke's bag, which aren't the loots I wanted or needed. Luckily, I was able to trade my tsunami for a Flairon. Remember Kelvin, the guy I gave Malachite to earlier? Apparently, he got a legendary drop from Dogfishron, the Briny Baron. It is a melee weapon, so he gave it to me. Another kind player by the name of Kokoquito also gave me his Fishron wings. I asked him if he was sure about this, and he said yes. Wow, I am touched. Out of topic, but have you guys ever interacted with a zoologist NPC during Blood Moon? What the fuck? What the hell is this dialogue? Rogue, Roo, Danger, Me. Wah! The zoologists do get a bit quirky during Blood Moons. There was an earthquake caused by Anahita and Leviathan which the players summoned earlier. You know what? We need a bit of money. Sure, let's defeat them again. It wouldn't hurt. While I was reforging, a player by the name of Soup gave me his community, a legendary accessory drop from Leviathan. I thanked him, but what the hell is going on? Why are these players being so kind out of a sudden? This feels uncanny. Anyways, since most of the players were at spawn, I did not notice that some of the players were fighting Aquatic Scourge. So I joined the fight midway in. Hey, better late than never. This wet worm wasn't important to defeat nor crucial to the main storyline progression, but it does feel satisfying to check another undefeated boss in our boss checklist. Alright, it is time we pay a visit to the Astral Infection biome that had been bothering us during the entire early HARDMODE. Yep, it is time we fight Astrum Deus. I believe one of the admins destroyed the altar to prevent people from spam summoning Astrum Deus earlier. Not to worry, admin Hazy Elk placed the altar back. Astrum Deus time, baby! Why is there no animation? I see no animation. Am I tripping? I see no Astrum Deus. Oh, it's here! Look. Finally! That was one hell of a scuff summoning ritual. It did get the job done though. Astrum Deus is a worm boss. And do you know what happens to worm bosses in a multiplayer server scenario? You got that answer right. They get shredded into oblivion. But worm bosses also makes the server prone to lagging. During the fight, I could use a true melee option of my Briny Baron effectively, as I could get closer to Astrum Deus without facing too many consequences. Well, for most of the time, at least. Yet, I died. Oh, the balls! Oh, the balls killed me. I thought these balls were player weapons. I was lagging like crazy at the end. And I didn't notice Astrum Deus had already died. And I also died too, apparently, for some godforsaken reason. The death of Astrum Deus also means that the Astral Ores can now be mined. It hasn't even been a minute, but people are already rushing out of their way to mine it, including me. What? Do you think I'm gonna skip? The loots from Astrum Deus might look mid at first, but the height of Astrum Deus is arguably the best true melee accessory to ever exist. It provides an effect where taking damage from an enemy boosts your true melee damage by 30%, which is very powerful. Defeating Astrum Deus also means that some people inevitably get their hands on the microwave yo-yo. I hate the sound effect from the yo-yo so much. God, why did the Calamity devs even make this garbage? It is a bit ironic that we are about to fight Astrum Aureus. The ironic part is we are doing it after Astrum Deus, when it should have been fought in the reverse order. I kept swinging my Briny Baron left and right in close range, making sure each of my water tornadoes were hitting the space spider's body. Knowing that now I possess the increased true melee damage from height of Astrum Deus, I did not care much about how much damage I took or the risk of me dying, as I believe I have a chance at finally placing at the number 1 spot in the most DPS dealt to boss ranking. I couldn't true melee Astrum Aureus all the way through as it was running away and trying to escape near his death, so I had to switch to my Flairon to deal the finishing blow. But that did not matter, as somehow, someway, I dealt the most DPS to Astrum Aureus. Yo! I beat water! I am top 1 DPS! 300k DPS! The swagger of a young, black, independent man. Trust me, I was in utter disbelief too, as this was my first time placing number 1 in the DPS leaderboard. While I was bragging my top DPS status, a random player killed the last Lunatic Cultist member on their way to the dungeon. I can't really blame them as there was only one cultist member left. All the players teleported to the dungeon ASAP. This was definitely an unexpected outcome, as I planned to fight the Empress of Light and Ravager before initiating a battle against a Lunatic Cultist. Lunatic Cultist was fragile and easy to damage. Is there a word to describe how vulnerable and prone an enemy is to damage? I don't think Cultist is in any way, shape or form weak. Okay, maybe they kinda are. What I'm trying to say is that it didn't take long at all to deplete Lunatic Cultist's health pool. I was low-key being way too overconfident during Cultist battle due to me placing on the number 1 DPS spot during Astrum Aureus. So my ego was inflated, which resulted in me dying multiple times. What have I become? I became the monster I once hated. Another gripe I had is that a lot of the players kept flying up. I literally cannot see 80% of the fight. This was a genuinely annoying issue. Like seriously, come on. I am sorry for cursing, but I literally can't see shit. Anyways, with Lunatic Cultist defeated, hopefully the Ancient Manipulator falls into the right hands. Now the Celestial Pillars have spawned all over the world. I of course rushed to the Solar Pillar location since I was melee. Didn't take long to take the Solar Pillar down since the player base is primarily dominated by the melee class. Did I mention how laggy the server was due to 4 different pillars being fought all at once? I crafted Daybreak and Solar Eruption using the Solar Fragments. Listen, again, I really wanted to fight Ravager and Empress of Light before Moonlord, but I low-key knew this was coming. It's been like only 3 minutes, but all the pillars have already been destroyed. Damn, I knew this incident was inevitable and unavoidable due to players' greed. So let's just embrace it and clench up our butt cheeks. Okay, now what is happening? Why is Moonlord not spawning? It's been like 3 minutes. This isn't normal. Welp, it looks like the big guy isn't coming to town. Oh shit, he's here. I periodically switch between Daybreak and Solar Eruption during the fight against Moonlord. I spam throw Daybreak randomly when Moonlord is far away from me, and I use Solar Eruption when he is near me. As simple as that. This fight against Moonlord felt lore accurate for all the wrong reasons. Why, you might ask? Because the players that were being targeted by Moonlord kept flying up to space. This made it hard for the other players to chase and catch up with Moonlord, including me. So while I was being targeted by Moonlord's Death Ray beam, I started to understand why people kept flying up. It was easier to dodge the Death Ray by flying vertically. I think he's draining our HP. What? He teleported! He drains our HP! Do not listen to water! I played these games before! Damn, Moonlord do be freaky with those tentacles. You know what else is freaky? The fact that Moonlord is able to steal players' HP using those same tentacles and regen his health back. So we really had to lock in as a team and dish out plentiful of damage at the same time to negate Moonlord's lifesteal. Midway through the fight, once we took down all 3 of Moonlord's eyes, I realized that Moonlord was bugging like crazy. Despite his core already being exposed, the 2 eyes in both of his hands and the 1 eye in his biggest forehead regenerated. What the hell is happening? I don't even know anymore at this point. But I commanded all the players to just focus on targeting his core. And at last, despite all the hardships we faced, challenges like sandbox we encountered, we're almost there! Yeah! Oh, that's a lot of tentacles! Yeah! Moonlord defeated! I told you guys, together as a team! As a team, we can beat Moonlord! All 50 of us players were able to successfully defeat Moonlord. Now that Moonlord has been defeated, all players obtain a Celestial Onion, an item that increases our accessory slots by 1. We also obtained Moonlord's treasure bag, which contains powerful endgame weapons and a few Luminite ores. I went to the nearest meteorite crater only to find out it was empty. You see, I need meteorite bars to craft my next favorite weapon. I felt devastated upon seeing this news. However, the perk of being a server owner is that some players will act kinder to you and give you the things you need. In this case, meteorite bars. I love being a tyrant. Before going further, I know this is cheating and there is no other way around it, but I just had to cheat in and distribute lunar fragments into public chest. Look, defeating multiple lunar pillars in a public server filled with 50 players is extremely laggy, and I am not going to do it for 30 times. I just had to do this, sorry. This is one of the very few moments where I cheated. Don't worry, we had figured out a method for issues like this during Season 2. We relied on the players' trust heavily for moments like this. I went to the dungeon to farm ectoplasms, and I went to the temple to mine bricks and lizard fragments. I need the bricks to craft Ravager's summoning item, that whistle. I turned the meteorite bars into the comet quasher, then combine it with luminite bars to craft stellar striker, my number 1 favorite true melee sword. I even had it as my profile picture when I first started YouTube. I reforged it to legendary as it deserves. Then of course, we must face our overdue obstacles, starting with Ravager. You see, we were supposed to fight this annoying and creepy spawn-shot effect boss before Moonlord, but yeah, you know what happened. Though we are shredding this temple mid-flash abomination that's about to get a rework soon using our post-ML gear, it was still pretty annoying, as we have to defeat this creature multiple times. Why, you might ask? Well, this ugly flash abomination drops useful materials contained in a flash geode that is needed to craft plenty of items, so defeating Ravager is a very efficient way to farm them. You could say Ravager is a Schrodinger douchebag. 50 players used to bombard Ravager with Meowmare. It was super effective. Ravager ran away. Ravager died in a brutal annihilation. But seriously though, the Meowmare spam was crazy. I was barely able to tell what's going on. We already cheated in lunar fragments. Might as well cheat in and distribute luminite bars at this point. This will be the second and last time I cheat in this video, okay? No more during Season 2 later, I promise. Using the definitely legal and legit luminite bars, I crafted a full set of solar armor. Did you know solar armor has built-in dash? Meaning it provides player dash without needing to equip a dash accessory. We beat down another Ravager into pulp, a common occurrence you will see throughout Post-Moonlord. But this time, I got a blood pact from the treasure bag, a good defensive accessory that gives players 25% more health. I combined the lunar fragments I had to craft a few Galactica singularities, and I used them to upgrade my botanic piercer into elemental lance. Man, spear upgrades are so cheap. Whenever we get to close range against enemies, we can switch to stellar striker, and whenever we need to play safe and long range, we can switch to elemental lance. I also farmed down some wyverns for a source of light, and I combined them with solar fragments to craft solar wings. Me along with a couple of players were about to check the availability of the Murasama in the Dragon Lab, and lo and behold, it was empty. We felt devastated. We couldn't grasp the reality of the situation. Someone took it, and that person was a mystery, unknown to any of us. And so I made a promise. I will grant upon the Murasama to the player that's able to deal top DPS during the battle against the Devourer of Gods. I needed Lava Charm, so I offered to trade my Neptune Shell for it. But this player, Water Bottle, refused it and gave his Lava Charm to me for free. Awesome sauce. I needed Lava Charm so I can shimmer it and and turn it into the magma stone, which I can combine with my mechanical glove to craft a fire gauntlet. A quick reminder that a building competition was ongoing while all of this was happening, so some players were building as we speak. What about me, you might ask? Well, I was trying to farm life fruits in the jungle, only to realize you can craft them by using plenty mush. A player by the name of Derp borrowed me his diving gear, as plenty mushes are found deep down in the abyss biome. I mined down just enough plenty mushes, so I can leave the rest for the other players in case they need them. I crafted them into life fruits and maxed out my HP bar. I then summoned another Ravager. Ravager is probably the most defeated boss in this playthrough. I needed to beat multiple Ravagers to obtain more life alloys. Even after defeating multiple Ravagers, it seems that I still never have enough of life alloys. Luckily, Derp gave me plenty of his. I needed the life alloys to craft exotic pheromones, the summoning item for Dragon Folly. Some of the players were at the dungeon. It was concerning, as if they defeat just enough phantom spirits, they could spawn in Poltergust, which the players were definitely not ready yet to fight. Checking out the buildings again. Starting off with Hazy Elk Building, a Flying Dutchman ship. You know what? I'ma build two, to be relatable. Starting with this mini hut I filled in with luminate bars and a freaky prison dungeon-esque cage. Yeah, you could say I'm a master builder. Chaos got nothing on me. Even then, I couldn't even build properly, as players kept distracting me, and even one of them somehow was able to summon Daytime Empress of Light. We despawned Empress, as right now, the players needed to focus on building, not fighting. Okay, let's check the players' building for real this time. Starting off with Hazy Elk's spooky Flying Dutchman ship, Flareon with his epic space galaxy planet's background in the underground, Falcon with his best tower in the server but he asked not to participate, Water Bottle with his beach hut, and it's worth mentioning, Hazy Elk remodeled the ocean together with Water Bottle, and Hazy also built a jungle hut, Ice Spider with his purple wizard tower and a medium house, Uriel Ripper with his creative domain expansion reiteration, and last but not least, Derp with his interesting twin towers recreation. Winners had been announced on my Discord server, and I thank all of these players for participating in the building tournament. Before ending the stream and session, we decided to end the day off with a bang, which is by fighting Dragon Folly. But let's just say that Dragon Folly stood no chance against our post-Moon Lord arsenal. Did you know it's theoretically possible to beat Dragon Folly before Moon Lord? I even tried being silly and touching the red pillars the burp summoned, and they did not even grace me. Okay, fine, they did some damage and did left some scratch marks, but they are nothing compared to the level of Yaron's flame pillars. Chinese knockoff Yaron will always be the title that perfectly suits this Bumble Burp. I wonder how the new tariffs would affect Bumble Burp. The burp kept summoning the annoying red lighting pillars though, making it a hassle and infuriating to get close to him and use our true melee sometimes. We wanted to end off the session with a bang, but instead we ended the session off by cooking a bird into a KFC. I mean, close enough, at least now we have dinner. Dragon Folly's loots were pretty good. I got a sword explosion and a rage lighting container. You don't want to see me when I'm angry. Before continuing on, I did promise the players I would donate $100 to charity if I couldn't upload part 2 in time, which I couldn't, so here is proof. At least my defeat could contribute something to the society. Alright, next session. Definitely nothing too weird happening as we speak. Don't mind the helicopters. These helicopters are definitely a new content update by Calamity Mod. Okay, fine, let me explain. My friend and the creator of the GitGudWO server system mod, Water Bottle, developed his own helicopter system into Terraria and decided to add it into the server. The helicopter has a lot of advanced features, such as being able to fire bullets and rockets, new flight system, forced PvP mode, etc. Note to myself, forced PvP mode equals admins abusing the helicopters to commit genocide to every players. I was being distracted too much by the helicopter. Okay, back to the playthrough. Scratch that probability of Ravager being the most defeated boss in this playthrough, because it definitely is. Can't blame us though. Life alloys are the tedious to farm in a multiplayer server where there are plenty of hoarders. I went to the underworld to farm some unholy essence. While I was farming for the essence, some players decided to summon and fight the Nighttime Empress of Light. Judging from the players' behavior, I guess it would be down bad to fight the Empress of Light. Before the light show even reaches third quarter of her HP, she despawned on her own, just like Skeletron and his prime variant. That's peculiar. If I had to guess on why it happened, I think it has something to do with that mode. So we experimented by turning off that mode and summoning her again. And I was proven right. It was that mode being problematic in multiplayer, as always. After turning off that mode, it went arguably smoothly. Well, if you can call an epileptic light show fiesta's mode, that is. I tried to face tank Empress, but it didn't quite go as well as I had anticipated. I believe Empress light projectiles stack with a number of players, meaning the more players there are, the flashier her light show becomes. The colorful weapons being spammed by the players being similar in color to Empress projectiles did not help with visual clarity either. There are rainbows everywhere. Yeah, the duration of the fight confirms it. It is unlikely that all 50 of us would be able to beat Daytime Empress with this much HP together in time, at least without a player dying every second, potentially crashing the entire server. hard, Nighttime Empress will do just fine. My reward for beating Empress together? A Rainbow Cursor and being whipped by players using their Kaleidoscope Whip. No time to waste. Next we go to the underwater to fight the Profane Meatballs. I thought I could tank the hits, until the Meatballs committed vehicular manslaughter and slaughtered me like a goat during Kurban. Yeah, I'm just gonna use my Elemental Lance and stay far away from the balls. It is better and safer this way. I learned my lesson. Give the people prep time and they will deal really good damage. Our damage was low-key looking really good though during this fight. I haven't even got time to take a breath yet, but someone random that got their hands on the Profane Core summoned Providence immediately after we defeated the Meatballs. Dude, give us a break. I thought we were gonna be fighting here on the Hallowed. Jeez. Needless to say, this fight went way harder and longer than needed. Plenty of players were very unprepared, and the current arena doesn't even suffice for fighting Providence. Whose idea was this? I am definitely moderating myself for more during the next season. It is so hard to use my true melee Stellar Striker when I can't even get anywhere close to Providence. It is impossible to maneuver around due to the building collisions, and she is literally inside the edge blocks for most of the fight. How can I deal damage to her? That is not even the worst part. The worst part is the lag and issues the server is experiencing. Don't worry though, we changed the server location to be better during the next session. And I even changed the provider for Season 2, which is currently working way better than what we used during Season 1. The fight went on very long, it even turned nighttime, transforming Providence deadlier and into more of a threat. Yep, we are fighting Nighttime Providence now, apparently. And wow, it switched to daytime again. And not long after that, even the time is tweaking. What the hell is going on with this server? And the weirdest part, apparently I'm experiencing a time delay. Some of the players said that they had defeated Providence 5 minutes ago, while I'm still fighting her with a couple of players here. Are we stuck in the past? Though the bug was weird, and Providence experienced a very interesting delayed death, potentially making this the most scuffed boss fight we had yet so far, we did defeat Providence. So there is that. Don't worry, we are gonna be refighting her in the Hallowed later. And besides, we do need to do so to get the Elysian Wings. Defeating Providence in the underwater grants players the Elysian Aegis, a shield that provides a very good dash. Defeating Providence also means that Yueli Bloom ores will now generate in the world. And of course, there were already players mining them. I'm a bit late to the party. I tried to steal the player's Yueli Bloom, but to no avail. So I became the one being robbed. A player by the name of Water Bottle even proudly hoarded them. Can't even mine anything peacefully in GitGudWO server. I turned my Yueli Bloom ores into bars, crafted Blossom Pickaxe, and the Life Hunt Sight. I traded with someone for their Yueli Bloom in exchange for my Divine Geodes. You might think it's a stupid trade, but we will be refighting Providence later. So Divine Geodes won't be as scarce as Yueli Bloom. I didn't have enough materials to craft the rest of the Targon armor pieces except for the breastplate. Now that things have calmed down a bit, at least for the server health and condition, we can fight Providence again, but this time we'll fight her in the Hallowed biome, which is more of an open space area compared to what the hell Otherworld is. And I was right. Having more space to move makes it way more comfortable to fight Providence. Our DPS massively increased, and the fight, while still being extremely messy, feels more manageable at the very least. Still, I am definitely moving my server location from India to Singapore, as I heard Singapore server was and is way more stable. It's a bit cute that we are fighting Providence near Ice Spider's Witch Tower, so it felt like we are defending a tower from Providence Mayhem. It almost turned nighttime, which would be a big problem for players, but we somehow still managed to defeat Hallowed Providence just right in time before nighttime sets in. As you can see, Hallowed Providence drops the Elysian Wings, and now with plenty of Divine Geodes, I can craft a full set of Tarragon armor. The set bonus grants players the ability to increase their damage reduction. I also crafted a Badge of Bravery accessory, which increases melee stats by a good amount. People kept asking for it, and since let's just say I'm a man of the people, fine, I'll answer. We can do early Poltergeist. I don't like doing early bosses or low percent runs, but this was inevitable anyway. Due to Poltergeist summoning condition, the players just had to beat a couple more Phantom Spirits and it would automatically summon the Blue Plantera. Since Poltergeist was fought in an enclosed space, it made us much easier to lock in our DPS output, and even true melee players like me to be close at all times to it. With that in mind, naturally, it becomes an easy boss to defeat despite it being a post-Providence boss. Wait, I meant a post-Rune of Chaos boss. Here is the logic. Whenever we fight bosses in an enclosed space, arena, or room, just know that they are going to be shredded, as long as players could lock in and target their weapons easily. This logic will come to be very useful for the final boss of Calamity later. And of course, for some goddamn reason, I didn't die throughout the whole fight, but the only one singular time I met once dead was by getting hit by a stray projectile when Poltergeist was reaching critical levels of HP. Yet again, I couldn't participate in dealing the final blow. Call me fumble GudWO the way I keep fumbling the bag. Poltergust loots were amazing, obviously, but the best drop might be the Affliction accessory, as it gives good stats. But most importantly, it gives you and other players on your team plus 0.5 HP per second life regen. Hypothetically, if all 50 players equip it, it'll grant 25 HP per second life regen. That is very powerful! I also got the Banshee Hook, which is arguably slightly worse than Terror Blade, but I'll take it. This feels like a spear-only playthrough the way I keep crafting and getting spears. I crafted Blood Flare armor using the Rune Souls we obtained from defeating Poltergust. While I was just chilling, I didn't know defeating Poltergust also allows Abyss mini-bosses like Eidolon Wyrm to spawn. Some players dove down the Abyss and defeated them. One of them goes by Kelvin, and he gave me the Void Edge Sword dropped by Eidolon Wyrm. Kelvin is such a goat. This sword is amazing due to its homing capabilities, and it feels super versatile and comfortable to use against fast bosses like Devourer of Gods. I'ma be real, I keep forgetting the Abyss exists, and most of the time I feel too lazy to dive down the Abyss due to the gear requirements to survive breathing down there. Check out this cool mini sky island built by Ice Spider. Yes, we are currently taking a break from all the boss's shenanigans. You could say it's our downtime. No, that doesn't slide the tongue quite right. Maybe our lunch break? During our lunch break, we decide to fiddle around a bit with the Great Sand Shark mini-boss, checking another boss in our boss checklist. Now that some time had passed, it is time we fight the Rune of Ghost bosses, starting up with Stormweaver. After rewatching this moment, why did I keep dying to Stormweaver? Like, why did I even crash myself to Stormweaver's body here? The lag and performance issues during the beginning of Stormweaver fight were still bearable, until some goobers who think they are geniuses decided to summon the Odd One's army on the right side of the world, while most of us players were fighting Stormweaver. This contributed to an extremely buggy Stormweaver battle. Stormweaver kept teleporting, disappearing, unable to be damaged, etc. I even heard reports that some players already defeated Stormweaver on their screen. Another case of the time travel bug. And whatever Stormweaver is doing right now, possibly tweaking from fentanyl overdose just further solidifies it. Before things get even worse, on that day, I decided to close the server abruptly in the middle of the fight against Stormweaver, as the majority of players and I could not handle the lag anymore. I upgraded the server the day after the Stormweaver incident. It took the provider a week to move the server to Singapore, but all things considered, the server performance should be way more stable now. And yep, from the looks of it, we are not lagging anymore. Proven by my skill issue finally showing, my true colors have finally been revealed. Stormweaver is now able to rain down lightning constantly and properly like he was supposed to. I will never take playing without lag for granted anymore. Stormweaver was even able to summon his tornadoes during his second phase. This was a touching and heartfelt experience. We defeated Stormweaver gracefully and smoothly. Then we dug a second elevator to get to the underworld. Actually, why did we do this? Cygnus will be the second Rune of Ghost boss that we are going to fight. And just like gym rats to steroids or homeless people to free vent, these players have a sick addiction to flying up. Even being the underworld doesn't stop them from doing so. But since there was no place to actually escape while flying up in the underworld, let's just say it caused a lot of deaths to happen, especially since they were all stacked up in one place, meaning Cygnus could just easily maul them all in one go. Look man, unlike these ships to offlock, I dare to be different. I'd rather pee in the sink than sink in the pee, if you know what I mean. Okay, I basically just attacked from a distance rather than trying to get too close to Cygnus like those players. My philosophy was proven to be goated, as proven with me being the top 1 DPS during Cygnus. Sometimes playing safe is better. I dealt 1 million damage, Hazy dealt 500k, Water dealt 900k. I dealt the top DPS! Next up, the dungeon. Why did I say it like Jack Black when he said the Nether? The next Rune of Ghost boss we are about to fight is Ceaseless Void. Ceaseless barrier health scales with the amount of players. I thought only the main boss health scales with players. Even the surrounding orbs health scale a bit with players, as they are now slightly tankier, but not by that much. The only problematic moment we had during Ceaseless was when Ceaseless performed his black hole sucking attack. It's raining projectile! Oh, I'm getting sucked in! I'm getting sucked in! Though his sucking action was simply not enough to quench the thirst of 50 players, I combined the materials dropped by the 3 Rune of Ghost bosses to craft a Cosmic Worm. Before you ask, yes, someone turned our entire spawn into the desert biome using a special yellow solution contaminator. Luckily, it can be fixed using green solution, so it wasn't too big of a deal. Fine, sure, let's do it. Let's do Odd One's army. Why are some of these players so obsessed with Odd One's army? Betsy and Odd One's army were easily defeated, yet my question still remains on why these players need their drops. Maybe for sentries? Not quite so sure. The Odd One's army crystal animation when you complete the invasion was quite cinematic though. So hey, I ain't complaining. Whenever you see the Devourer of God summoning text, just know that there is someone out there spam using the Cosmic Worm. Enough dilly-dally, it is time we witness cinema. I shall use the Cosmic Worm to summon none other than the Devourer of Gods. Devourer's head game is crazy the way he ran through and caught the players lacking. Do you think Devourer will become morbidly obese after consuming this much flair? players, he really let himself go after the Deforce with Providence. The Space Worm cholesterol levels are off the charts. But the reverse concept could also be applied to Devourer, as he needs to constantly go from point A to point B to target players that are scattered around the world, practically running a marathon while being chased by a bunch of barking chihuahuas. Must have been an intense cardio day for Devourer. Man, my dodging skill fell off, the way I be getting hit by random attacks. Never mind, the self-depreciation wore off. I just remembered that I'm goated. I couldn't even notice that Devourer had already entered phase 2 due to him being all over the world. Man, make up your mind and choose the player that you want to eat. What a greedy worm. I was lucky enough to be able to survive a chomp from Devourer. Damn, how did I survive that? I wasn't wearing Targon armor either, I was wearing Blood Flare. So it was just genuinely luck factor. Very little players survive after their encounter with the Devourer's chomp to tell the tale. One thing's for sure, the Devourer can't possibly devour all of us. And with the overwhelming quantity of players respawning one after another, it is near impossible to not win the fight against Devourer. Devourer of Gods might win in terms of damage, but he will never win in terms of quantity. Up, and that should kill the Devourer of Gods. And with that, the GitGudWO server had officially defeated the Devourer of Gods for the very first time, forever marking history as the first public server to ever do so. I am honored to give the Murasama to the player by the name of Hazy Elk, since he placed number 1 in the DPS ranking against Devourer of Gods. Hazy refilled the loadout, which makes sense on how he was able to deal the most amount of DPS. That is one very solid combo. Together, we made the Cosmic Anvil. Well, more like myself since I used my own Cosmilite to do so, but still, it was a team effort. It took longer than needed. I really need to organize my inventory better. Using my remaining Cosmilites, I crafted the Essence Flare. With the Devourer's death, we must now farm the invasions for their respective energies. We did Solar Eclipse for Dark Sand Fragments, followed by Frost Moon for Endothermic Energy, and Pumpkin Moon for Nightmare Fuel. This part feels unnecessary to cover and include in the full movie, due to how long the farming process lasted. But just know that the process was long, tedious, and painful. We require all of the 3 energies, as when combined, they create Ascendant Spirit Essence. It is an essential material to craft a huge variety of endgame items, such as Elemental Gauntlet. I used my Cosmilite and Ascendant Spirit Essence to craft Godslayer armor. Since some people required more Cosmilite bursts for their shenanigans, we would have to do second round against Devourer of Gods. But during our rematch, for some weird reason, Devourer of Gods despawned. Thank God it did not happen during the first time we beat it though. That would have ruined the whole vibe and flow of the video. Intrigued by the despawning bug, I summoned Devourer again. But this time, it didn't despawn, luckily. I assume it despawned the first time because it got too far from a player which the worm was locked on into. During the second time we beat Devourer of Gods, we got a magnificent cinematic shot. This scene we captured has a way better cinematic flow compared to the first time we did it. Just look at how Devourer's body parts slowly crumble pieces by pieces, and then boom, the white light. Absolute cinema. Sadly, even after 2 Devourers, I still did not get the Excelsus sword. But the Goat Hazy gave me his, since he is using the Murasama now. Guess what time it is? Nope, you are wrong. Probably. It is time for more invasions, and even more Ravagers. This is straight up farming simulator Terraria Calamity Server Edition. After a while, using effulgent feathers from Dragon Folly, I crafted Blessed Phoenix Egg. But before Yaron, we need to discuss about the PvP arena we have yet to build. The arena required for the PvP tournament. Let's thanks the goats Hazy Elk and Ice Spider for helping me build the arena together. One quick building montage later, and we had successfully built the PvP arena. I also did a bit of helicopter training in the arena, but let's just say I would make a terrible pilot. While at it, let's also utilize the arena to fight Yaron. 2 birds, 1 stone, effectively using it as a multi-purpose city hall. Now that players have gathered, let's summon and fight Yaron, the jungle dragon. We were hyped as hell to beat the living hell out of the flaming phoenix, but our hype was quickly ruined. Somehow, someway, Yaron got instantly killed out of nowhere. And the case wasn't similar to the despawning bug that happened to Skeletron or Empress or Devourer, as this bugged instance counted as Yaron being defeated, proven by how he dropped his treasure bag. First time might be a fail, but second time might be the charm. Welp, I guess I was wrong, as the same insta-kill bug happened again, which means all the players now have 2 of Yaron's treasure bags. This is bad, this is really bad, this is unacceptable. My stubborn nature did not let me stop from trying again, despite the risk that could unfold. I summoned Yaron for the 3rd time, and thank God, the battle worked normally during the 3rd time. As of the time of this video, the staff team and I are still holding an investigation on why the Yaron bug occurred. It was very peculiar and unnatural, as that mode was confirmed to not be the cause of the incident either. It's almost like a player was behind it. It kinda sucks because basically everyone has access to Yaron's gears before Yaron is legitimately defeated, such as the powerful defensive accessory Yarim's gift and all the glorious Yaron themed weapons. By the way, someone kept gifting me the odd mushroom item, so if you see me tripping, it wasn't intentional, as it automatically gets consumed every time I press the quick buff key. Yaron did me dirty here by using his triple whammy combo to directly penetrate my anus. Also, dodging Yaron's bullet hell in multiplayer is near impossible, especially the one he does during his death animation. It sucks that the battle against Yaron wasn't exactly legitimate, but regardless, defeating Yaron together was still undoubtedly an awesome sensation. So hell yeah! And yes, this resulted in all of us having multiple treasure bags from Yaron. Well, at least players won't be complaining about the lack of Yaron's soul fragments now. Yaron's loots are omega helpful against our upcoming threats, especially the Dru's wings and the high defensive capabilities of Yarim's gift accessory. I did get most of Yaron's weapons except for the Burning Sky, which was the one I needed. Luckily, while I was mining auric ores that have now generated in the world due to Yaron's defeat, someone named Cetera who was in melee gave their Burning Sky to me. And yes, I embarrassingly did almost die while mining auric ores. I wasn't paying attention, okay? Using them auric bars, I upgraded my elemental lance to its final form, Nadir. I grabbed back my old armor pieces as we need to combine all of them to craft auric Tesla armor. But in order to craft auric armor, it requires a flying carpet as a legging material. So I had to distribute flying carpets into the public chest. I searched the wiki far and wide. There is no other way to obtain it except from the pyramid. You can't even get it from fishing. No, don't call me out. Theoretically, hypothetically, and figuratively, this is not cheating. I traded my Dragon Rage away for some of Xander's auric ores, as I was missing like 5 auric bars for the helmet. I know I could just mine down and get them, but try doing that in a world filled with hoarders. A small price to pay for the best armor in the entire game. I also didn't forget to reforge my Nadir to godly, as the weapon deserves. While Hazy and Ice Spider was renovating the PvP arena, I experimented with PvP, and let's just say maybe hosting an endgame PvP tournament was a bad idea, as the guy that attacks first will always win, sort of like a Wild West. A foreshadowing to the events that are about to unfold. We defeated Kalklon one more time because I lost my Ashes of Calamity, refought a few bosses like Poltergust and Yaron, so some players that missed out can get the things they need. Primarily, things needed to craft the armor pieces for crafting auric Tesla armor. You know, we gotta be willing to compromise when playing together. I also ended the session and the stream after the bosses rematch, to recover our mental energy and prepare ourselves spiritually for the upcoming final threats. On the next session, people asked for more time to gear up, so to pass time, we did acid rain event. The invasion was boring, but I admired the design of nuclear terrors, so I can tolerate doing it. I thought a blood moon happened during our acid rain, which is near impossible and extremely unlikely to happen, in theory. Turns out it was just players at spawn fighting Calamitas clone. At the end of the acid rain, Oduk emerged from the seas of the sulphurous wasteland, shrouded in his virulent tornado. Being a completionist that we are, we decided to partook in the challenge. Why am I scripting so poetic here? Look, I'm just trying to prove a point to my friend Biju that I write better than him and I could be a decent light novel writer. Please understand my struggles. Some heavy lags did occur during our battle against Oduk. It's caused by the server being under a lot of pressure from the acid rain and whatever is happening at our spawn. Basically overloaded, boom boom boom. Oduk is a pre-devourer of God's boss, so the fight lasted short and easy, though his drops were pretty situational at best. For example, the Oduk skill. It gives you 10% damage reduction, a stamina meter, and a better dash. Until you realize it takes up an accessory slot, and once you run out of stamina, your movement speed and dash becomes absolutely awful. Now that all the players have finished gearing up, we can now prepare ourselves to fight Dryden Exomax. I was trying to get a cinematic shot of me building the Codebreaker base, but I kept getting disturbed by these hyperactive lobotomites. It took us a while, but we finally got the cinematic shot. We had to choose out of the 3 options which exomech to fight first. Obviously, I am picking RS, Illusion of Free Will. Guys, I have a confession to make. This video in itself is an anomaly, as I honestly never expected we could make it this far, especially with how buggy Terraria multiplayer is. But the fact that we have legitimately defeated Moonlord, Providence, Devourer, and now we are against the endgame bosses was out of the ordinary, challenging common sense. This was a testament on how stubborn we are as players. No matter how bad and laggy the server was, we pushed through. As corny as Yes, this is to say, despite how silly, annoying and stubborn these players are, I am very proud of them for making it this far. On a side note, how do you dodge this from Thanatos? No, like seriously, explain to me. I use Nadir during the parts where I can get near to Exomax, as the attack speed and projectile of Nadir tends to be slower compared to most endgame weapons. We brought down Thanatos first because it is a worm boss. I swear, 50-player server just became worm boss's worst nightmare. We laced Ares morning cereal with Adderall. That's why he be acting groovy and be having excessive energy. You can't make this up, the Exomax are genuinely tweaking. Thank god the tweaking stopped after a while. Oh yeah, don't worry, nothing's changed. The players still have a bad habit of flying up. Holy, so many people died during this Ares laser attack. Get the biggest planetoid out of our way, damn! Did that planetoid just unintentionally commit a genocide? Ares' rotating spinning laser attack is one of the main reasons why he is my favorite out of the 3 Exomax. Doesn't mean I can properly dodge it though, but I locked in and successfully dodged one rotation of the Ares spinning laser attack. Hey, that's something, quite a feat, you know? We even brought down Ares not long after that one successful dodge attempt. Coincidence? I think not. That was so perfectly timed, jeez. Okay, so the last one is Artemis and Apollo. Artemis and Apollo tend to move very fast and be everywhere on your screen. Also, they lock onto players with the most aggro too, like Ares, which means Burning Sky ability to rain down fireballs onto anywhere on your screen was proven to be very effective at handling the hyperactive spasms of the lobotomized twins. We honestly expected way more lag during Exomax, but this was honestly somewhat fine. This statement really speaks on how bad the server performance was throughout this entire playthrough. Yet another normal Tuesday for the Terrarian, but an accomplishment and achievement for mankind. And with that, the GitGud server had officially defeated Dradon Exomax for the very first time. However, there is still one more endgame boss left to go, so our job is not done yet. Get your Dradon ass out of here. The Exomax treasure bag landed right on top of Falcon's tower, so that's pretty cool. I totally did not cause a fuss over searching for it. Dradon Exomax loots were amazing, the main star of the show being their gaming chair mount, providing players unlimited flight and unparalleled mobility. Oh boy, Supreme Calamitas will be cooked. The Dradon heart accessory is amazing as well, giving players another way to regen their health without healing potions. Exo prisms dropped by the Exo Trio are also the main material to craft a wide variety of endgame weapons. One of the weapons being Supernova, which you can clearly see is blinding my eyes. However, I couldn't craft any better weapons with the Exo prisms, so I have to stick with my Nadir. It took me a while to realize that leaving the complete codebreaker out there being exposed to the wilds also means that players can easily access it and use it to summon more Exomax. Bad idea, we had to take it down. Players having access to endgame weapons equals prepare your eyes to be violated by weapon visuals. During our downtime, I noticed an extremely loud and weird sound coming out loud near our spawn. Turns out someone named Water Bottle who has been mining and hoarding auric ores placed a bunch of them at spawn. Okay, that was admittedly an annoying prank, but it was outside the box and a funny and clever one at that. After some time, I commanded all the players to gather near the altar of the accursed. Yep, it is time we initiate Supreme Calamitas. And just like during Exomax, it took me a while to calm these lobotomites down from throwing around and spamming their weapons. This is just like teaching a kindergarten. Yes, of course, we had to take a yearbook-style cinematic shot. Okay, listen, the reason why I died almost immediately to the bullet hell after Supreme Calamitas got summoned was because it caught me by surprise, okay? I swear, I am not that bad at dodging bullet hells. I just thought it would take her longer to wake up, you know what I mean? I'm gonna be completely honest when I say this, I could not tell what's going on during the Supreme Calamitas battle. Too much stuff going on, man. The endgame weapons visuals are crazy. I don't even know where Supreme Calamitas is on plenty parts of the fight. She was completely covered with projectiles and players. She would be the perfect Twitch streamer, rivaling Pokimane, with how many sims she has willing to go head over heels for her. If you really think about it, Supreme Calamitas popularized domain expansion before Jujutsu Kaisen was even a thing. No, really. She traps players inside a restricted arena and uses sorcery, creating a barrier that encapsulates a metaphysical space. Jujutsu Kaisen first manga chapter was released on March 5, 2018. Meanwhile, Calamity Mod was first released on May 27, 2016. Crazy, I know. And as I mentioned sometime before, due to Calamitas being in a restricted arena, it also means that players can easily target her and shred her. But at the same time, players can also get easily disturbingly dominated by her, resulting in an endless cycle of repeating death, just like Subaru in ReZero. Don't worry though, we had found a solution to prevent players from abusing the respawn mechanic by using a life system. It already took effect during Thorium Season 2 of GitGud server and it went very well. However, since Thorium Season 2 had already been defeated by us, you guys will get to see it in action during Season 3 of GitGud server, which is Infernum Get Fixed Boy. Shameless plug incoming, see it live on action on my Twitch. Having finite lives incentivizes players to be more careful with their lives, and rewards players more for using tanky and defensive gears. This way, no more players willingly throw throwing their body over the boss and hoping for the best. They will actually need to think of a strategy. If I had to be honest, I had a writer's roadblock and I was struggling with describing the Supreme Calamity's fight. Therefore, I tricked you guys to unconsciously listen to my yapping that is unrelated to whatever is going on my screen right now. Can you blame me though? All the shenanigans were very overwhelming. Supreme Calamity is already dead, she just doesn't know it yet. One thing's for sure, all these players are barbarians and they are not gonna spare the Brimstone Witch. She hasn't even finished monologuing yet, calm down. And with that, the GitGudWO server had officially defeated the final boss of Calamity, Supreme Calamitas, becoming the very first public server in history to ever beat Terraria Calamity Mod. All that left is the bonus content, such as Primordial Wyrm and the PvP tournament. Since we beat that mod version of Escal, someone out there has a guileless greatsword. That voice crack is crazy. Supreme Calamitas loots were extraordinary, but the Ashes of Annihilation is what I need. I used it to craft arguably the cheapest endgame sword to make due to its short crafting tree, Iridescent Excalibur. I tried shimmering Escal weapons in hopes of obtaining something from it. I don't know what I expected from doing so, I got nothing. I did shimmer my Rod of Discord into Rod of Harmony, allowing me to teleport onto anywhere on my screen without any consequences. But I will be banning it for the PvP tournament as it could potentially cause issues. Inspired by Hazy Elk enchanting his Iridescent Excalibur to Tainted, I spoke to the Brimstone Witch NPC and enchanted mine to Tainted as well. Man, that price is crazy. I had to sell my Yaron Soul Fragments. This witch is no different from the Goblin Tinkerer. Tainted enchantment removes projectile shooting capabilities of the weapon, but in exchange, 2 skeletal arms will pop behind your back, and they will swing when you swing, dealing true melee damage for 5 times the weapon's base damage. We decided to test our endgame weapons DPS against Devourer of Gods, summoning the worm for the very last time in this season. Turns out being purely true melee wasn't the best decision, especially because bosses tend to be off-screen for most of the time. Welp, too late to back out on my decision now. At least I look cool. It is time we dive deep down the abyss together to engage with the only one super boss in Calamity for now. Rod of Discord nor Harmony won't work to spawn it for some reason. Maybe it's a multiplayer bug, no idea. I had to spawn the big guy manually. Yep, we are fighting none other than the Primordial Wyrm. You probably noticed less people were present during the fight against the Wyrm. Well, the reason is mostly because they are not interested, and plenty players were busy with crafting endgame weapons at spawn. But the most prominent reason was because they can easily drown in the deepest depths of the abyss due to not having the abyssal diving suit. And in all honesty, I couldn't blame them. Primordial Wyrm battle is quite boring with plenty of repetitive attacks that are unforgiving. So just getting hit by a stray projectile makes you get into a frozen state completely, basically guaranteeing your death. And the rewards for defeating the Wyrm isn't equivalent to the risk factor. And oh yeah, true melee Iridescent Excalibur during this fight was a terrible idea. Exoblade or anything ranged would work way better. I even had to switch to my Burning Sky here and there. You just know how desperate a person is when they start to use fire weapons underwater. I am probably doing little to no damage against the Primordial Wyrm. Hey, I am here for the emotional support. Also, it's really hard to see stuff underwater because of the abyss visual filter. I swear, I am not making up excuses. The dark gloomy filter makes it harder to describe what's going on. I am not gonna even try to understand, just know that the fight was plenty unfair and repetitive. I died right when Primordial Wyrm was also about to die, so I couldn't get a proper defeat cinematic shot. Well, that sucks. To rub salt into the wound, Primordial Wyrm loots were basically the same as the regular Edolan Wyrm loots. A player whom I forgot their name, sorry, secured the Terminus earlier and they gave it to me. We can use the Terminus to initiate Boss Rush. Boss Rush is an event where every vanilla and Calamity boss spawn sequentially in a predetermined order. There are a total of 44 bosses in the Boss Rush. Unfortunately, Boss Rush was bugged in multiplayer. It takes an eternity for the next boss to spawn one after another, so we had to end the Boss Rush early. All that left is the PvP tournament, and let me tell you this, it was painful coordinating the PvP tournament. It was supposedly to be a team versus team, red versus blue type of tournament, like Team Fortress 2. But explaining what's going on would be incomprehensible due to how awful the tournament went. From players that refuses to coordinate, players that instantly die due to lag, the intense delay and latency of the countdown, players that keep pretending they won the last round, immortal people that simply just refuses to die despite their PvP already enabled, and so on. It was absolutely chaotic. I learned my lesson and I am never going to host an endgame PvP tournament no more. To make things worse, during the helicopter round that was supposed to salvage the PvP tournament, we somehow exploded our entire Singapore server, rendering it completely unplayable. I even tried killing and restarting the server, but it simply refuses to start up. Yep, we did it. We didn't just defeat Calamity, we somehow fried and defeated the entire server. And being the complete idiot that I am, By showing the server provider customer support page on stream, I accidentally doxed myself and my email at the end of it all. So I will have to talk to the customer support over here. Ah! Now my email! Can I stop doxing myself? Yeah, thank you, bye-bye, see ya, bye-bye, thank you, bye-bye, see ya, thank you. No joke, people used it and registered my email to a bunch of random websites like bdsmtest.com and apparently Church of Jesus Christ. Who keeps spamming me this? bdsmtest.org. I don't even know this website. 0 minutes ago. What? Another new message. Like, what the fuck? How do I unsubscribe? Welp, it was one hell of a wild ride. Thank you all of you guys for watching and see you there on Infernum Get Fixed Boy Public Server Season 3. Bye bye.